It's a time to rejoice and sing. I got an invitation for you.
Yep, that's right. Life and relationships here on Meet The Stewarts Live Reality Radio. We're so glad you guys decided to wind down your Tuesday evening with us. Hey, Shell, let's go tell the world about Jesus.
Let's do it.
All right. So once again, I don't know why every time I'm just like, oops, I almost got caught up on the intro. I think because I'm just so caught up in everything else, and I was like, hey, what am I supposed to say? I'm supposed to say it's me and you.
Yeah.
You
always mess up the intro, but it's all good. Everybody expects it now.
Oh, really? It's an expectation now that I'm just going to do something wrong on the end. You know what, next week, I'm going to practice all week just for you and just be like, bam, nailed it. And see how you feel about that. Then it won't be expected anymore.
I believe it.
Are you patronizing?
No, absolutely not.
I got one eye up. I'm
I
sleeping
know
one
I
eye
look
open.
patriotic and all
Oh.
because I voted today. But no, I'm not patronizing.
You said it like I didn't.
Hmm? You did.
Okay, I got my sticker. You better. Hey, speaking of stickers, I saw my boy D'Angelo Woody. It looked like in Florida, some of the precincts, they had some really fancy stickers. Like it wasn't just I voted. It like had a seal in the middle of it and words around the edges. I was like, I want one of those.
You were a little salty.
I was like, come on, can we step it up, Texas? Like, what's good? I don't know what's going on.
I voted sticker envy. Seriously,
Yeah,
there were some pretty fancy stickers out there.
That's what I'm saying. That would encourage me to vote. If I was just turning 18, I'd be like, oh yeah, I got this fancy sticker.
Really? Did you get a sticker?
I got this fancy sticker for my Instagram. Like, I'm killing everybody. I voted sticker game. Come on. Now. Filters look real cool on it and everything. Man.
Are you serious?
I'm just saying, if I was 18 and I was on the cusp of not voting, and you know.
Just for the sticker.
Just for the sticker. That's always funny when that happens. Just for the sticker. But yeah, I would. But anyway, what are we talking about tonight, Chef?
We are talking about the topic, so this is love.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Or, so this is love?
Yes. It's funny. Every time you say that, though, I always think about Cinderella.
Yeah, well, you know this, when we were engaged, well, yeah, but when we were engaged, a very awesome friend of ours created a website, and he used the song "So This Is Love" from Cinderella, my very favorite Disney film.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
And that was the song on the website. So This Is Love.
I know. Awesome song.
Yep, and then, the sub to that is what no one talks about, but everyone should know.
Ooh.
So this is love?
Yeah.
So this is love.
Nobody
But before
talks
we
about
go there,
I guess we already talked about voting, huh?
we did. We talked
did.
about
We just
voting
ran
first.
straight up into
We
voting.
did.
Well, you were patronizing me about life. And so I think you just like wanted to say how patriotic you were.
Yes, it was just a good segue.
Mm-hmm.
Moving right along to our favorite segment.
Favorite segment, of course, is A House Divided.
The House Divided.
Ooh, today, oh man, I'm telling y'all.
What is the House Divided?
Yeah, I was gonna get into it. I'm just super excited about what we're gonna talk about. Today, House Divided is about. Well, no, what House Divided is. I'm sorry. Duh. What House Divided is healthy division. And there's a such thing as healthy division. I just love saying healthy division. Sometimes there's going to be some things you disagree on. Such as in some of the ones in the past we've had are flats versus drums, which for wings, or Apple versus Android. So there can be healthy division that you may not agree upon, but it's not going to tear your house down. She's going to say that like I didn't hear her. Like, Apple. I heard your Apple. I take your Apple and I raise you an Android.
Yes, did you know those Androids that we talked about a few weeks ago are banned from air travel?
Oh my, are we really? That isn't even the House Divided.
They are. Hey.
How about the MacBook Pro I was just talking about that is trash?
So the House Divided tonight.
The new 2016 Apple MacBook Pro is not living up to its standards.
However,
I'm just going to say that.
The spontaneous
because I was almost converted until that.
Until I saw y'all still cornered the market on that.
Really?
There we go.
Cornered the market?
You did.
They got your corner the market. We're going to corner the market on this House Divided topic tonight. So, if anybody knows anything and in the family, especially if you grew up, I just thought about this, if you grew up with a mother, I grew up with a single mother that experienced menopause and so, I'm just saying, my mama loves me, she all right. And she all right, every woman goes through it, so it's not like a taboo thing.
Eventually, it might be taboo.
How is it taboo?
So, okay.
Anyway, There were times to where she would just go boom on the AC, and I'd be like, "What in the world is going on?"
You're not supposed to give your backstory. Just tell them what the house divided is, and then go into
I'm trying to work on some votes here.
No, sir.
Okay, so the house divided tonight. All right, we go. Are you hot-natured or are you
versus cold-natured?
And it's all about the temperature setting in the house. So how is the thermostat set in your house, and which one do you prefer? I'm gonna go ahead and let Michelle start since I kind of stole a little bit of it.
You did. I mean, you just went straight into your sob story. So, okay,
Yes.
I am, yes, hot-natured.
Ooh.
Caliente. Did I say that right?
Caliente?
Yes, I'm hot-natured.
Why? Like, why do you do that? So I'm gonna give y'all some backdrop on her hot-naturedness. So this is like, she is, let me tell you, in the house, it can be 40 degrees outside. It's either the AC is gonna be down on, first off, the AC is gonna be on, or the fan is going to be on. One or the other is happening, and I'm like, it's 40 degrees. We don't need it any colder in the house. Like, it doesn't make sense. Or she'll have the AC on and it's set real.
Well, okay, so the reason why I'm good with that is because I feel like this. You can put on more clothes, but you can't take off enough clothes when you're hot.
But here,
You can't, there's only so much you can take off.
I agree with you.
There's only so much you can take off.
I don't disagree with you.
Hot.
But let me preface it with this too.
Mm-hmm.
You're also somebody, you're home most of the time during the week with the kids. So you don't have to go in and out. Other than once you take the kids to school, you come home and you pretty much chill unless you have some errands to run.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gone all day and I'm bundled up
Sitting
on my
in
walk
your
back and
office.
from. No, when I leave from the office,
See,
I got to put on all of these clothes.
Because it's not like he works outdoors. You're
Wait,
not
no.
doing construction.
I have to put on
You're
all.
not a lumberjack. You're not out in the woods cutting down trees. You're sitting in
I'm like the Old
at your
Spice
desk.
man. I have
No.
a different job.
No,
It
you're sitting at
requires
your
me to
desk.
do some interesting things.
Inside.
Anyway, when I get ready to leave, I gotta throw on
You
all
trying to
these.
come from me talking about I sit at home inside all day.
I'm just
You
saying.
sit inside all day.
All I'm saying is when I'm bundled up in all of these clothes and I have to go outside and track through this long walk to my
One
car.
time
Hold on.
in one
Can I
time
finish?
out.
See, when people vote, they get all confident. Like, I don't know, like they just want to
That's
just.
because I voted today.
Yes, just want to run the conversation. Anyway, like I said, when I go
It's the
and I come
sticker.
home, yes, you need to take that sticker off. Because I don't feel like I'm gonna be able to say anything tonight as long as you have that sticker on.
Oh,
When
we're
I-
debating.
See, look, I can't even finish. Debates are over. It's time to vote. So when I get home, I don't want to have to be bundled up in my house. I just was bundled up when I came home from work. And now I have all these clothes on, and I got to keep the same clothes on I was outside in the 30-degree weather inside of my house. That makes no sense. When you come home, you want to take clothes off and relax. I can't because I will freeze to death. That's not right. That's not right. When I got to keep on the same clothes I had on outside, when I come inside, something's got to change.
Something's got to change.
Something's
I mean,
got to
I feel
give.
I feel like at least you can bundle up. Take off your work clothes and put on some comfy sweats or something.
I want to wear basketball shorts and a t-shirt no matter what time of year it is. That's comfort to me. I don't want to walk around in sweats and socks. I don't even own socks because y'all steal all of my socks. I don't even have socks to put on.
I did not steal your socks.
Well, the family does. And I get why dads and stuff ask for socks for Christmas because they're stolen.
Because you're cold.
No, because they're stolen.
And you're cold.
Yes, and I'm cold.
Oh, okay.
Because the house is on
It's
60.
nothing worse than you bringing your little cold body next to me.
And then she don't even want to let me warm my feet up on her. I'm
No.
like, if you're going to freeze me, you're going to at least let me warm my feet
No,
up.
like your ice pop toes. No.
Man, that's not right. So first you're going to freeze me, then you're going to let me get in my own bed and have to just freeze until I get warm on my own.
Because you want to wear tank tops and shorts.
Who doesn't want to be, that's comfortable. All that extra clothing is not comfortable.
Okay, so what say you guys?
Yeah, I want to know what y'all say. 'cause-
Hot nature versus cold nature. What are you?
Oh,
What
man.
about you,
Like,
Stu
I-
Crew?
Yeah, what
do
about
you guys?
what
Patrice,
about you?
Alicia?
I'm cold natured.
As she snuggled up in her jacket up to
I'm
her
cold
nose.
But it'll switch because
Patrice is cold natured.
it'll switch.
She said
because
she's.
I turned on the heat one
Are
time
you
and I
seasonal?
fell asleep and it felt
How
like
can you be a seasonal hot or cold nature person?
because like I don't know the medium, so I either got the heat cranked up
Uh-oh.
or the air cranked
She
up.
said she
Lord.
is seasonal.
She's extreme either way.
What about you, Alicia?
Alicia is
Definitely hot nature.
hot nature.
I have to
Yes,
have the ceiling
hot-
fan on.
You know what? I had an ice cream cone today. I had to go to the bank with my grandmother, so I didn't anticipate that I would actually have to go inside. So I had my ice cream cone, and I'm in the bank like a little kid with my granny.
I had coffee
And so I'm
today.
standing there, and the clerk behind the glass, and she's like staring at me with my ice cream. I'm like, girl, you rude. Get out of my ice cream.
She wasn't rude.
But
She
she
thought
said-
you were a special person.
She said, it's cold outside. You're still eating ice cream? I'm like, yes. She's like, I would too. See, she agreed, though.
Mm-hmm.
She did. She was envious.
She agreed because she didn't want you questioning
She
her
was
about how she was
envious.
gonna handle your money.
She was.
That's why she was agreeing. She didn't want anybody to call management on her because you was looking at you funny.
I looked suspect
Yeah,
because I had the ice cream
And
cone.
she was like, "This lady may call my manager on me, so let me
Oh,
go ahead
Lord.
and agree with her on something."
Okay.
It's justified. I get
Listen,
it.
we need to move on. Okay.
I'm just saying. Anyway, what do you guys say? I know a lot of people are probably looking at the election. I don't fault you. Looking at the election and trying to see what's going on with that on CNN.
Let us know. Let us know what's
Yeah,
going on.
you guys chime in because I see
So
there's
we're
people
on
online.
Patriotic today. We want to know what's going on. And of course, we couldn't not be here on the show tonight. But yeah, let us know who's the front runner right now.
Yes, keep us informed.
Let us know that you voted too.
Yes, because I'm going to kind of cheat and flip back and forth between CNN and Facebook Live. Forgive me, y'all. I'm just gonna keep it real. Y'all don't judge me. Don't judge me. So, all right, Shell, let's get into this topic. Let's talk about.
Let's do it.
So this is love. So I know we started talking about. First thing we kind of want to hit is like love through the lens of life, and that one thing I want to say about loving through the lens of life, and really what we're talking about is like the different perspectives of love, like loving your family, loving your spouse, loving your children, loving that different things. But one thing that stood out to me is like we don't want to confuse good counsel or good love with supporting your perspective. In other words, like when I look at my daughters and if they're going through something in school, saying with social issues or stuff or anything like that, I don't want to necessarily tell them like I straight up understand, or not necessarily understand, but I support your perspective on how you want to handle that situation. Versus I'm going to give you good counsel and good love regardless of how you feel about the situation. And a lot of times we get in these situations to where we'll sit up there and we'll think that somebody's not on our side or they don't love us because they're not agreeing with our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really dangerous.
Yeah, it is. I think so too. I mean, especially because I think the scripture is maybe taken out of context. You know, like how do we walk together except we agree? But that doesn't mean that y'all have to agree on wings or flats, you know,
Yes,
or
yeah.
agree on, you know, the temperature setting in your home and things like this. You know, people are divorcing for irreconcilable differences that, come on.
Are they really irreconcilable?
You know,
That's the question.
you know, but is it because the lens in which you view love may be skewed? You know, like what life events, what has your life led you to believe that love is supposed to look like? You
Right,
know?
yeah. And so it's funny that you say that because I think about when we do sit up there and we put on this lens of I'm going to look at how you're going through life and what you're going or what I'm going through life, and then automatically whatever you tell me, whatever you say to me, I'm going to hear it from and see it from my eyes. So not only am I seeing what I'm going through from my eyes, I'm also seeing what you're telling me through my eyes. A lot of times when you're in positions, especially when you're dealing with people you expect to love you or they're supposed to give you some type of love, everything you see after that, if they hurt you or don't move in the direction you think they go, everything's skewed after that.
Mm-hmm.
Your whole perspective is just thrown off, so it's hard to just take whatever they say as just good love. I can think of so many times as a teenager, and definitely now I get it as a parent, to where I can tell you sometimes like she don't love me. Ain't no way she would do that to me. I never forget. I stayed out late one night. I stayed out late way too late one night. It was like the week before my senior homecoming.
People thought you were talking about with me.
Oh no,
They were like,
no, high school.
"What? You stayed out late, Shannon? What did you do?" No.
Just trying to say no,
I'm
but
just
senior
saying,
year.
the suspense was real for a second. I was like, no, you didn't.
It was senior year, maybe like a couple weeks before homecoming. I just stayed out late. It was one of those moments I'm like, well, I'm already out. I just might as well go ahead and stay out and take what's going to happen. Boy, I came home real late. We talking like 4 in the morning late. Ooh, was I scared for my life? Yes. But I was like, it is what it is at this point. She's not gonna whoop me when I'm 6'3", 185, so I'm okay. But then she came. I came home the next morning. She was like, you know, she was like, you pretty bold, huh? You just gonna stay out? Well, you could forget about playing in your homecoming game.
Wow.
I was like, you don't understand my perspective. You don't know what that game means to me. Man, I'm telling you, but so I couldn't understand her perspective of so many things could have happened to me that night. Of course, as a parent, I get it now. But I didn't see that. All I saw is there was no way she could be loving me in that moment from taking the sport that I love away from me on a homecoming, my senior homecoming night.
Right, but because your perspective wouldn't allow you to see, you know, what she felt that entire night waiting on you to come home. You know?
Yeah.
I think that translates also into other relationships. I mean, okay, let's talk about love languages then for a minute. You know, like love through the lens of life. Okay, so my love language, you know what I mean, and your love language may be completely different, which they are. And in most relationships, that's how it is. People tend to receive love or accept love or feel love differently. But the problem with that is if I don't know that what I'm doing doesn't translate to love to you, but it means love to me. You know what I mean? Like this is love for me, and I could be just like going overboard with that, you know, like affirming you all the time. But to you, affirmation that didn't do it for you, you know? And so I think a lot of people run into trouble in their relationships because they're giving love, they're expressing love the way that they receive it, the way they view it, you know? And so like when in a relationship, there's like, you know, they reach or they butt heads in a place where they're just like not feeling, like their need for love or the capacity for love is being met is because, you know, they're not receiving it in the way that it's being given. Not that they're not getting it, but they're just not receiving it in the way that it's being given.
And that's when we get into it's almost we have to be careful because it's an unconscious selfishness. Because we're selfish about, well, if this is the way I like to receive love, then why does it not make sense to you to receive it in this way as well? And we'll cause relationships to just go crazy.
Oh my gosh, how about this happens all the time, especially with married folks, and I'm sure this happens in other relationships too. But like for me, I like to talk. You know, I like to talk about things. I like to talk about what I'm feeling and stuff like that.
Yes.
And to you, that doesn't feel like love. That does not feel like love. You're like, why are you talking about this? Why are you still talking about this? Did you just say that again? Like, is this on repeat?
Is this the 8th different way you can say this?
And it doesn't feel like love to you. But, you know, in some relationships.
I didn't say that. Y'all remember that. She said
I know that now. But early on, I didn't. I didn't
Right.
realize that. So for me, being able to communicate, I'm like, I'm talking to you. I'm communicating with you. Why don't you receive this well? Why doesn't this make you feel good?
Because I received it the
You
first
know?
time.
Oh, really?
I'm just. But now I'm more gracious now. I listen.
Guys, Shannon says that I repeat stuff like over and over, and I will admit that. But my reasoning is this, and he didn't know this, but he knows it now. That I didn't understand if he was understanding me. Like he would just be giving me nothing. You know, he's just like listening, and I'm like talking. He's not saying anything.
Well, no, I wouldn't. I would say I got you. I would say simple, just I get it. But that wasn't enough.
Because I'm the talker, not him.
So I was like, I get it. Makes sense. And she was like, that's it? That's all you got to say?
Like, out of everything I just said, like,
I got
get it. That's it. There's not more? No? Okay. Okay. But to me, that didn't feel like love.
What?
It didn't.
I was acknowledging your feelings.
But that was love through the lens of life for me, you know, based on my life experiences, you know. And I think, again,
and even it's the same way, too, is I was feeling like that was good enough for me. If I told you that I got it, then I got it. But now I have to make sure I confirm that, hey, I need to really express whatever's going on inside about how she feels about this situation that she has told me multiple times.
Yeah, well, you know, people tell us about love language and things like that, but what they don't explain necessarily is that you're not receiving love in that relationship, and that doesn't mean that you should just shut down on the whole idea or possibility of that relationship being successful just because, you know, things don't feel like love. You know, love is not a feeling necessarily, you know?
Yeah. That's good.
But
So,
we think it is.
yeah, we definitely think it is. Yeah.
Love does not always feel good.
No, it
If
doesn't.
you thought that, I'm sorry.
We got a whole lot to talk
It's a
about.
setup.
Y'all stay tuned. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back here to Meet the Stewarts, reality radio. We're live here in the studio. Ever since you talked about me earlier, about
And then
always
I
messing
smile.
up.
I have
Yeah.
this little grimace.
Yeah, you set this up. So anyway, we're back here live in the studio talking about This Is So This Is Love. I was like, wait a minute, see, you just messed me all up. Let me take
Try
pause
again.
for the call. Really, you want me to just start all over? We're back now on Meet the Stewards.
No, please don't.
No,
Okay,
don't.
so this is love.
Really?
Or, so this is love?
You're going to have to take this sticker off. Because, I mean, you were getting really bold with this sticker on tonight.
Oh, man.
So, yes, Meet the Stewarts, reality radio, back in the studio. Talking about So This Is Love or So This Is Love. We were talking about you, pretty much the best part, or not I say the best part, I take that back. The best part is coming in the end. We were talking about love through the lens of life and what it looks like from the perspectives of different people in just different situations and how those perspectives can skew just the whole receiving and giving love in the rest of your life in so many different areas of life. But also we talked about when we were coming back, we were going to talk about the doctor, how the doctor's perspective of practicing his, I guess his practice, what would it be called? The doctor practicing his
I don't know.
field?
You got me on this one.
My bad. The doctor practicing his field and how it compares
He's
to love.
improving. He's improving.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You go.
I did. I told him.
Profession?
Practicing his profession.
There you
I go
go.
with that. Practicing his profession.
Go
See?
T. He's in the clutch.
Yes.
Came through for you.
Hey, you were, yeah,
She on you.
I'm about to take the sticker off, the jacket off. I don't know. I think she thinks she's going to be
The president.
yeah, right? Oh, at the National Mall, giving her, putting her hand up.
Something
And,
about wearing a blazer. I don't know.
maybe I need to
Like,
put a
it
blazer
improved
on.
my
You be
posture
too hot.
and everything.
I got you. That's fair game. Everybody coming for me tonight.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think I need to step out and come back in because clearly I didn't step in right because I just
No,
feel
you're
like
good.
I'm on my own.
Because this is love.
Really? No. So it's going right into what we're talking about in this section of what it looks like. Not necessarily what it should be, but what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was talking about with the doctor and practicing their profession is a lot of times too, we practice love like the doctors practice medicine. So we're not perfect. So the love we operate in is not going to be perfect either.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't be striving to be great at demonstrating love, but we have to recognize that we're not perfect. So there's no way that the love that we're trying to express or even the love that we're receiving is going to be perfect. And it makes me think about too, because of that, we forget about allowing others to have grace. So we lose sight of grace when love from all the different perspectives and all the different things, we don't recognize that it's imperfect. So it'll be really hard for me, like we were kind of talking about earlier, to receive love when I'm not recognizing that it's coming from an imperfect person.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times I've been in a position to where, I can't say so many times, but I've been in the position to where because of something that's happened in my past, I wouldn't allow anybody else to love me from that perspective.
Oh,
Like
I see.
I would feel like males wouldn't allow myself to get close to really
Like other guys?
older male figures
Oh, I see. Like
because of my
your
father.
dad. Okay.
Like, and because I was hurt, but that caused me to miss out on some great relationships until I really met my best friend, and I love his dad to death.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because, I trusted my best friend so much that I allowed that gate to come down. But before that, I wouldn't. Like, I'd be like, all right, you cool, but I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gets really touchy because this is how we see love. We
Mm-hmm.
see love as God is love, and we know that His love is perfect. But then we expect us as imperfect people to be perfect too, and it causes us to be in bad situations as far as receiving
And I
and
think
giving love.
sometimes we don't even realize that that's the expectation that we're putting on people.
Mhm.
It's just that, okay, especially as Christians, it's like, listen, love is patient and love, we want to quote it and things like this. But okay, let's take a inward examination of that. Patience does not feel good all the time,
Mhm.
you know.
We just
And
talked about this.
it doesn't. Patience doesn't feel good all the time. Hold on. Being kind to someone who's being rude to you, it doesn't feel good. That does not feel like love. But in that moment, you are operating in love. Now, is it still love if there's no reciprocity? Yes, it is. That it's still love.
Jumping ahead
I
to
am.
what it should be. Just a little bit.
My bad. I'm sorry. Let me pull it back.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So.
We're talking about what it is, the reality. I mean, I get what you're saying, because a lot of times
Yeah,
we
'cause
should
what
be
it is-
operating and being kind, but we're not kind.
Right.
We should be operating in patience, but
Not
we're not
always.
patient.
You know, I mean, the reality of it is you are going to be some of this most of the time, but not all of it all of the time.
Mhm.
You know, and do we have grace for that in our relationships? You know,
But that's the biggest key is, do we have grace? Even when we are the giver of love, sometimes we don't have grace for the person in front of us if they've hurt us in some type of way, and we withhold our love. We don't even give our love, or we hold it tight because we feel like you don't deserve.
or you
my
don't love
love.
me because you hurt me.
Right.
You know, you don't love me because
And
you
this
hurt
is
me.
where we always go back into, especially with us, we'll say, we'll take a step back, and this is how we've just been, or God just laid on our heart, is, do I really believe Shell meant to hurt me?
Oh yeah,
Is
examining
that her
the
intentions?
intent.
Right.
Yeah.
Was her intentions to hurt me? And that'll really allow you to take a step back and be like, okay, that was not their intentions to hurt me. Now, we're not saying that
That's
everybody
important, though.
everybody doesn't have, some people do have intentions to hurt you.
Malicious
So that's
intent. Yeah,
that
they
is
do.
legit. But I mean, we're talking about when there is, a healthy relationship or a pretty good relationship, and then somebody does something to hurt you. Was that really their intentions? Was it their
Right.
intentions to make you feel bad, to hurt you? And you need to base how you respond to them on that. And
Mhm.
so a lot of times we withdraw just because we were hurt.
Right. And then totally negate the opportunity for love in your life just because love wasn't perfect for you in that season or in that moment, you know. But
Negating the opportunity. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but that happens a lot. I think even dating, I think this is the stuff that nobody talks about when you're dating. Nobody talks about this when you're in premarital counseling. Nobody talks about this. Your parents don't talk about this. That nobody talks about this, and this is what the experience is going to look like.
Because all you see is, the fairy tales, especially when we were growing up. Yeah, Cinderella, all the different ones, where even though something tragic may have happened, it still was beautiful, and it was just.
But yeah,
perfect
what about
fairy
when
tale.
the ending isn't?
Right, when the ending
beautiful. You think
but the problem is there really isn't. You have to look at, there isn't an ending,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the wrong perspective. If we always think that it's going to be this fairy tale ending, and then it's the fairy tale for the rest of your life. But what really happens is you have these peaks and valleys. You have these seasons to where it's great, it's in the fairy tale, but you can't live in that fairy tale with the perspective that it'll never come back down again, because it's just a reality.
Yeah.
There's going to be bumps in the road, and even as you're going up, there's still going to be dips in the road. And if you set yourself up with the perspective of it's always going to be a fairy tale, it's going to make that bump or that dip hurt that much harder.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where you I think you see these people running to divorce, or running, separating and things like that, or just relationships
Removing
falling
themselves
apart.
from
You're right.
relationships,
People just pulling themselves apart is because they have this perspective of I didn't think this was going to happen.
Or this just doesn't look like, it doesn't. This is not what I thought that love is supposed to look like, because if we're, loved by your life's experience definition, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Will cause you possibly to remove yourself from a lot of relationships. I know some people who don't have any real long-standing relationships. Like, they don't have a single friend that they have been able to just roll with, for the long haul, because that kind of stuff would come up. They would have these circumstances or a season where they just, it didn't feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, it's not gonna have anything to do with you. Is that love? So this is love? And then they wonder why, moving forward, they have these different relationships like this and nothing is working out. It's not everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's not everybody else. It's not them.
And sometimes that's the hardest check.
Not them only.
The hardest heart check is your own.
Yes.
A lot of times, I mean, it's really hard. Like, of course, the Bible says you got a speck, but then you have a big log in your eye.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
But that's why you can't see the speck.
so it's like, so it's so hard for us to make sure that we're self-checking ourselves and how are we loving. And I don't want to step ahead, but really we just need to be in that presence of always looking at our own hearts and how are we loving, how are we receiving, how are we giving, how are we just doing any of that from a perspective of what's good, what's not good. Man, I wanted to hit one thing, but I know we gotta close it up. One thing I do want to say real fast is, especially as a spouse or somebody in a relationship, you got to think about when we don't give this grace, we assume that the other person is mad when we fail. And what happens is, if I assume that Michelle is mad at me when we fail, a lot of times I will call myself to withdraw, meaning I can't face the person that I just hurt. And so a lot of times when you don't allow yourself grace to, when you fall or when you fail or you don't love perfectly, what happens is you will call yourself to withdraw and put a bigger wedge in between you and that person. Because there's been so many times where I've looked at Shell and I can't look at her because I know I just hurt her. And I know it wasn't intentional, but it still hurts me that I hurt her. And I withdraw and I can't look her in her eyes because all I can see is this mirror looking back at me that I hurt you. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be careful to make sure you give yourself grace in that instance too.
Yep, and then for the other side of that, for me, observing him in that place in life, and I know we've gone over, but I'll try to sum up. I think this is important though. For me, I resented the fact that he was so broke up because he hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
that's actually
how your feelings gonna be hurt when you hurt me? You know, like I totally resented people like that. Like you're all in a funk and feeling all mopey, you know, because you did wrong. You know, like, and I resented that instead of receiving that in the heart that, you know, it hurt you to hurt me. You know what I mean? But that's all a matter of perspective and how we're seeing and receiving love from each other.
Yeah, and we have to open up our eyes to all these perspectives too. That's what I really want to make sure that we understand is we have to open our eyes, and we're all practicing this thing called love because we can never do it perfect like God did it. Ever, or like he does
but
it.
we should strive for it.
But
yes.
we should strive
and
for
have
it.
grace for one another as we're striving for it.
Because you got to imagine, grace was on the cross for us. And that's exactly what he did. He put his son on the cross for us so that he could love us, in spite of how we treat him. And I just think personally about all the things I've done. But we're going to go to another song, Travis Green, Intentional, and we'll be right back, guys, here on Meet the Stewarts Live Reality Radio.
You have like added something.
Hey guys, we're back here in the studio live on Meet the Stewarts Reality Radio. We were just talking about love, so this is love, or so this is love. I can't do it like you do it. I'm trying. I don't have good inflection. I'm a little monotone. But anyway, we're talking about so this is love, and really we were talking about love through the life or through the lens of life and just the different perspectives of love. And kind of continued that a little bit, but also talking about how just like doctors practice medicine, we're practicing love because we'll never have perfect love like God or Christ has for us. But we are supposed to strive to have that love in practice. So with that, there has to be grace when
but
receiving love or giving love.
Playing love, it's practicing love. You know?
There's a difference. But that's good.
There's some counterfeit stuff out there. You know, people who are absolutely not operating in the spirit of love. You know, let's say that.
They are playing games. You're right about that.
But this is the practice, like the practice of perfecting. You know.
So that's a good segue then. So how do we tell the difference? So what is love? What should it be so that people can recognize, all right, they playing love or they practicing love? They for real. So, I mean, the easiest way, and it's maybe a little cliche, but it's not because, I mean, 1 Corinthians 13 tells it all about what love should be. And so we're going to kind of walk through some of those of what love should be based on the Bible. One of the first ones, I think Shell talked about it earlier, but I do kind of have a joke, is patience. Love should always be patient, and I call this, from my perspective, husband 101. Because as you get older and older in relationships, and relationships grow, should I say, more and more mature, you learn a lot of things, and you learn to be patient. Like she was talking earlier, she could tell me something 8 different ways. Or I'm going to help every brother out here that's not married or ones that already are. I'm sure some seasoned ones on here is like, you're right, bro. Your wife is right. That's the best patience advice I can give you. Your wife is right. Just choose your battles. Let it, unless it has to do with life or death, just let that one go. If your family is not in immediate danger, it's all right. Just let it go.
Really?
Patience. Hallelujah.
Because I'm actually right, guys.
See, I told you.
It's easier for him. It's easier for him. Okay, so go ahead.
And another one is patience. Patience. Love is kind. So this one made me think about one time I was counseling one couple, and one thing they would always do is they would take a lot of cheap shots at each other, and I call them jabs. And we know in boxing, if you keep jabbing somebody, eventually it's going to wear them down. until they're not ready. Or if you keep taking little cheap shots at the body, eventually they're going to get tired. They're going to get weak, and it's going to hurt them, and it's going to put them in a place to either, one, defend themselves or go down. And so we have to be kind, because we have to think of what the end result of just cheap shots and little things could be in any relationship. If you keep chiseling away, eventually there's nothing left. Or they'll put up an even stronger wall. So if nobody has a wall and you're just chiseling away at their heart with mean words, eventually they're going to put up a wall, and it's just not going to affect you in your relationship with them. You got to think about how it's hurting them in the future with any relationship they're going to have. And so love is kind. What do you think, Shell, about love is not jealous?
Oh Lord, we could go so many places with this love is not jealous thing, like social media, you know.
Oh, I didn't even think about social media.
Yeah, I mean.
My thing is, don't beat the crab.
What?
Learn how to celebrate others. Learn how to celebrate others. A lot of times that whole crab in the bucket mentality, we just struggle in life sometimes about celebrating each other. Like without,
Instead of comparing.
Right,
or,
because you've done something I
competition.
want to do. And so I can't celebrate you because you made it there. Even though I've been working on it for 6 years, and you've been working on it for 1 year, you made it, I can't celebrate you.
Wow.
And it's sad, because you have to change your perspective of, well, you made it in 1 year. Hey man, let's talk. How did you do this in 1 year? Because obviously I'm doing something wrong. I've been trying for 6. So let's work together. Help me. Awesome, you made it. Can you help a brother out so I can make it too?
And even when they don't.
Yeah, even when they don't.
Or if they don't. Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. What were you thinking about social media as far as?
Well, I mean, you had a totally different perspective, and I really like that actually. But I was thinking in terms of like couples actually. You know, like people who are not comfortable with the social climate in their significant other's life socially. Like on social media. And so how that can bring some issues up into your relationship.
Right, but you should always respect each other's feelings. Always. So there's sometimes a compromise, because there's a difference between discomfort and jealousy. Like I'm jealous of somebody else, or I'm just not comfortable with that relationship. That relationship just doesn't seem healthy for our marriage.
Yes. Okay. And then with that being said, okay, so there's people out there who have relationships and they have friendships, that their spouse or their significant other are uncomfortable with. When is it appropriate to sacrifice? Like, is it appropriate to sacrifice?
I'm gonna say the first time is appropriate. It's not even a question if nobody's put a ring on the finger.
It's not a question. It's like, sacrifice for what?
Exactly. I'm gonna be absolutely honest with you. If a ring is not on the finger, you shouldn't. Okay. Unless the Lord has spoken to you. I mean, it's different, because once when we met, God specifically told us to start closing doors.
Yes.
That's the difference.
The closing doors.
Right, closing doors, other relationships and friendships. Now, I still have friends, but then once we got married, I
a lot
definitely.
Of friends, y'all.
Yes. Why you have to say? I didn't think about the way you said that. Yes, I had a lot of female friends, but I started.
But I don't. I actually didn't care about that.
You did, but it's still start closing just a lot of doors and start closing things down, and so just out of that's just my personal feeling and my personal respect. Didn't want to just cause any gray areas. Just get rid of all assumptions. Tell you, when God tell you this the one, you'll start doing stuff that's out of the norm. You're like, hey, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to
start
make sure.
shutting stuff down.
I'm telling you, when your best friend look at you in the eyes and say, "Don't you mess this up," you better get right, act right.
Shout out to Aaron.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. So love is I like that. It's not jealous. Another one is love is not proud. So
Too proud to.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say is, especially think about in relationships. What's done secretly will be rewarded openly. And so a lot of times those things that everybody else doesn't see in the relationship that you have with a friend, when you stayed up with them till 3 o'clock in the morning, there's going to be a point in time, and it may or may not, but most likely there's going to be a point in time openly where they support you, or they do something in that. And because you weren't proud to do the things that nobody else sees, there wasn't enough pride. I need you to know that I did this. I need everybody to know that I'm just pouring into my friend.
What it makes me think of is where people are afraid to look foolish in an intimate relationship.
That's good.
So like, they say things like, they made me look like a fool. And then they're afraid to have grace in that relationship because of what it makes them look like.
That's good.
Like pride will keep you from fighting for your relationship or, you know, giving it an opportunity to really, you know, thrive because your pride is in the way, because of, you know, a circumstance where the love wasn't perfect. You know, there was a season where the love, you know, there was a problem in the way that love was being communicated. And because of that, you feel foolish and your pride says, I deserve better than that, you know.
And let me help out all the married folks, all the brothers out there. You do some awesome stuff for your wife that nobody else knows secretly. She's going to reward you openly. She also going to reward you secretly. I'm just going to keep it real.
Wow.
I'm just going to keep, hey, we all adults. I'm just trying to help my brothers out. There's some brothers out there that you know, right? No brother has ever, you know, done anything quiet that nobody else seen for his wife. You know, he posted everything on social media and he set up the bed right and, you know, got flowers on the table and he Instagrammed all the roses he put on the doorway. What about the things you did that nobody saw?
Yeah.
Am I right? I'm just asking, am I right that the secret things matter? I mean,
the secret things definitely matter.
That's all I'm saying. I ain't asking you
You're
to
gonna
talk
tell
about
y'all
anything.
what Shannon did, y'all. He took me out on, I'm getting off topic for just a minute. If you follow us on social media, then you know this happened. But just a few days ago, Shannon took me on a date day.
Yes.
And we flew, we live in the DFW area, but we flew out to New Orleans for the day. And he had a whole itinerary planned for me. It was so much fun. And I hadn't had that much fun in so long. I mean, I can't even remember the last time we actually had a designated day just to have fun with each other. And it was great.
We did have fun.
You did good.
You know.
But you know what? He was careful, very mindful to speak love to me the way I received it. And that was so important to me.
Mm-hmm.
It really was.
I'm telling you, y'all really want to make that work? I'm gonna tell you what really blessed me. I didn't get it until I left. My phone died.
What?
I'm being honest. So I didn't have access to keep checking on stuff and keep doing stuff. So
like
all my attention was
ESPN.
right because I'm an ESPN nut. So I'm reading every article, everything that comes out about every person, every athlete. I'm like,
it was all about
It was
me.
all about you.
What?
And so, guys, just put the phone down. I promise you ESPN will be there. All the articles will be there. Just scroll a little bit more. Or whatever it may be for you, but just give them your full divided attention. I think that really helps. So I'm just trying to drop some nuggets for my brothers out there. Just trying
I think that's good.
stuff that I've known, you know, that works for me. That is
Okay, so I'm not sorry.
No, go ahead.
But okay, back to the scripture though. I think a lot of times we look at the scripture and we think about being on the receiving end of it most often instead of on the giving end of it, you know? Because if we're always looking at how we're receiving this, like, no, hold on, you're jealous, you're not kind, you know, you're not patient, you know, oh, no, don't bring that up, love keeps no record of wrong, you know, and we're, you know,
Right.
we're, don't use this as a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't meant for you to, like, just be measuring everything in your relationship on this, like, you know, oh, no, checks and balances here, you know, look here, you didn't have hope or faith in us, you know, like, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I think this is more meant for a self-check.
I do too. And one of the best parts about it is two things about this, closing up in the scripture, is that it does not demand its own way, so it's selfless. Love is so selfless, and that's the biggest part is, and no matter what somebody else does, can you display love? Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest key about that. Like you say, we want to use it as a defense mechanism. Well, it's not about what they're doing. It's are you loving? That's the key.
It's about what you're doing.
I mean, at the end of the day, Jesus loves us unconditionally, and we're practicing love. So it didn't matter what we've done or what we're going to do, he loves us. Mm-hmm. He loved us. Mm-hmm. He's going to love us. And so can we have that same perspective? And also at the end of verse 7, it says, endures through every circumstance. In other words, you got to fight even when you're losing. Mm-hmm. It endures through, no matter what you're going through, that love is going to last through the season that you're in. And so that's one of the key things that we have to, when we're displaying love, can I last through this? Is this love that I have for this relationship stronger than what we're in?
Can you fight for a loss together?
Yeah, that's, ooh. Why you gonna do that at 9:58?
I'm just saying. Okay.
Why you gonna say something like that?
Anyway, we just want to encourage you guys not to give up on the practice of love. We really do. We really want to encourage you not to give up on the practice of love, as it is a practice of perfecting. Because none of us are perfect, and we're not saying this so that you are out there and you're settling for something that is absolutely not love. No, there's a difference.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna close it out with this pillow thoughts, guys. And tonight's title is "Waiting to Exhale." I once saw a future Navy SEAL training to hold his breath underwater, and he did it for at least 3 to 5 minutes. He had the choice whether or not he was going to come up for air. The safety and security that the Navy SEALs find in their ability to avoid death gives them the confidence to push the boundaries of their survival beyond the comfort of even some of the best swimmers. What if I told you that there are gifts, abilities, and treasures inside you, but you haven't pushed the boundaries of your survival to see them in their greatest capacity? In fact, sometimes you feel like you're drowning in the sea of life to where there's no room to even enjoy the gifts that you have. You are on the brink of losing your life, and on your own, you don't have the confidence that your last breath will see you through. The thing is, you shouldn't. God says, I'm waiting for you to exhale. When you release the last of what you have, and you truly surrender everything, then He can fill you with the eternal breath and resources you needed to destroy the boundaries of survival. Why survive in a box when you can live without limits?
Wow.
Do you have the confidence in the one that gave you the gifts? What's holding you back? I don't know, but you have to stop waiting to exhale. Let go and be confident in the breath that will only sustain you in the sea of life, but it will also propel you in the storm, through the storm into victory. Who's waiting to exhale?
Wow, Chris. Amen.
Yes, so love you guys always. We thank you for joining us here on Meet the Stewarts Reality Radio. And more than anything, guys, love, love, love. Because I promise you, love really does conquer all when you're loving like you're supposed to and practicing.
This is love.
This is love.
This is love.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Take care.
See you next week.
Yes, next week.
Welcome to the celebration. It's the time to rejoice and sing. I got an invitation for you.
You to party.